Hello, I'm Odess with the Access Control Executive Brief, and today I'm excited to dive into the first pillar of our series, Possible, Reimagining Security's Potential. In our series, Barriers, Security as a Catalyst to Do More, we're exploring a fundamental shift in how organizations view security, not just as protection, but as a platform for possibility to do more. This collaboration between Gallagher Security and the Access Control Executive Brief is revealing how security can become a powerful catalyst for innovation and value creation across enterprise. The possibility mindset. Today, we're exploring what's possible when organizations reimagine security's potential with our subject matter expert, Natalie Bannon, Director of Strategic Alliances at Gallagher Security. Before we begin our conversation, let me share why this paradigm shift is so transformative. The art of what's possible begins with a mindset change. Leading organizations are moving beyond viewing security as just protection. They're seeing it as a powerful platform for broader value creation, the ability to do more. This isn't about incremental improvements to security. It's about fundamentally reimagining what security investments can enable. We've seen visionary security leaders identify opportunities that transform their systems into engines of efficiency, innovation, and competitive advantage. They've developed practical approaches to build support for this expanding vision and created new metrics that capture security's contribution beyond traditional protection measures. Today's conversation will provide practical insights from someone who has successfully championed this possibility mindset and achieved remarkable outcomes. These insights will help you, whether you're a security professional looking to become a catalyst for innovation or an organizational leader seeking to unlock the full potential of your security investments. They will help you do more. So let's hear from Natalie as she shares her perspective on what becomes possible when organizations reimagine their approach to security.
A little bit about my background and my current role is that I actually did not start in security industry. I started in dental. I had a brief stint there, moved into authentication and more logical access security. Then really through transitions with acquisition, moved into converged access and then physical access security. So today, and I've been in that role probably about 5 years or coming up to 5 years. So today I am the Director of Strategic Alliances for Gallagher Americas. My team, we're responsible for really 4 main programs. It's our global end users, our consultant community, our third-party technology partnerships, and then also our national channel partners. So I get to deal with a lot of different types of people within the security industry, which always makes it fun. It's probably one of my favorite things is trying to build lasting relationships with those different types of individuals. I really started to notice that security systems could do more than just opening doors, because opening doors is boring, right? So right from the start of my interview process with Gallagher, I was probably a little bit obnoxious. I actually asked them to show me the system twice before deciding that this was something I could really get behind. And I asked that because they were really into the hardware aspect of our solution, which is great. But I saw the possibility of, hey, this could do so much more. And I think that's partially because of my background not coming directly from physical security. And then I was lucky enough when I came on board to join as a end user focus. And so I got thrown into some global accounts right away. And we have this one global account. They're a large car manufacturer. They were awesome and they continue to add to their security system. So they have about 14 systems, 26 different integrations that tie into their security platform. And it's anything from allowing their employees to order corporate clothing to provisioning credentials from their HR and Active Directory, automatically provisioning, I should say, to even doing during COVID, when COVID started to lighten up a little bit, they wanted to do random temperature checks. And we found a way for them to completely randomize that selection so there was no bias, but allowed them to have the safety and the health safety of their employees by doing these random checks. So it was really interesting when I first joined in September to go through COVID, see it lighten up, and even then think of new ways to use their security platform for something that's totally not related to opening doors. Yeah, in order to see the possibilities of what you can do within your organization, you have to have a different type of mindset, right? And so I think with that mindset comes curiosity. is one of those key factors. You have to be willing to ask the questions, get engaged with people and say, hey, what can we do with this system that might be out of the box or not in the norm? And so really being able to, again, have that curiosity mindset, ask the questions, and not be afraid to engage with other departments within the organization to also probe questions is key. It's one of the reasons why I think we've been successful recently with our customers is to say, hey, don't just think of security platform. Like, what are you doing? And what are some challenges that you have with people management, site management, business management, building management, right? And the security directors or the security team might not know all of those challenges. They might need to go to HR, operations, safety to ask those different things. But once you start to do that, it's really interesting and you start to get intrigued answers and challenges to come back and say, okay, what can I do with my security platform to help them? A really interesting example, if I can give you one, is around an actual grocery chain that has lots of different corporate facilities, distribution centers, things like that. We had them come through and ask us, hey, my real estate organization is having trouble determining how many people use our spaces. And we're trying to figure out if we can actually sell or lease some of our space to other folks. And so we were able to create a reporting just based off of access, that unique identifiers, unique badges that come into a space, how frequently are they going in, and what rooms are they actually leveraging to see where they could possibly make more money. So again, that was just someone being curious, willing enough to talk to us to say, I have this issue with this organization, part of the organization that had nothing to do with security. Are you able to help? So curiosity is definitely that mindset that you need to have. Yeah, it's really interesting to challenge an organization to reimagine what's possible with their current solution, right? And I think what we can do with that is a lot of different things. One really interesting example is with mining. So we had a mining company that was saying, hey, we do this every day, right? We try to make sure that we have people that are cleared from the blast zone, but it takes us a long time to do that. What can I do today to maybe rethink how I'm leveraging the tools to be more efficient? And what we did is really cool. We said, okay, let's go ahead and try to get all of your employees, all the staff members in a shuttle bus and see if we can't use asset tracking tags to make sure if we're attaching them to their helmets and their boots that they have cleared that blast zone. So we were able to use just our readers and tags to determine that everyone is safely removed from the blast zone. It sped things up so much that they were able to do an additional blast, which if you're thinking about mining, right, and you're thinking about gold, for instance, and how much more meaningful that is to be able to speed things along that you can then get an additional blast. I mean, that's huge, right? And that's just something that is asking the question like, hey, again, I have this issue. It's more operations, doesn't have anything to do really with security, but what can I do that's different? So that's a really interesting one. When you're thinking about protection, right? And again, I already said that opening doors is boring. So what else can you do there? And we just had a recent conversation with a prospect actually that I was saying, okay, where is the budget coming from? What are you trying to accomplish as an organization as a whole? And their response was, hey, I actually need to increase my NPS score, which has absolutely nothing to do with security if you think about it. So it was really interesting, but they wanted to increase membership experience. And so when you're thinking about membership experience, how can security play a part in that, right? And it's anything from the fact that we were talking to them about mobile badging and the fact that you can create a mobile badge that looks really slick. If you wanted their image on it, you could do that. If you wanted it to say, thank you for being a member, you can do all these things around mobile badging. You can also deliver it to them prior to them coming on site. So imagine being able to come into a facility, you already have your badge, the badge looks slick, you're able to get into the space that you're needing to get to seamlessly, right? That helps membership experience. That will help them with their NPS score. We also talked about it because they're in the business of allocating space, that we can say, okay, another thing with your members is it's probably frustrating for them to receive a bill that for additional time in a space that they weren't expecting. What if we were able to go ahead and give them a broadcast notification, because if we already know they have mobile credentials, they've already downloaded the app, to saying, hey, you have 30 minutes left in this session. You are welcome to stay longer. It will be billed in 15-minute increments, right? Allowing them to make that decision and not have a surprise bill at the end. So again, all these things that not really protection related, but actually helping member experience to help them with their goal of increasing their NPS score. Yeah, I think when it comes to gaining support for reimagining how to use your security system, it's again goes back to that curiosity and networking within the organization, going ahead and asking the questions within the organization, say, how can I support you? What challenges are you having? Naturally, most people don't say, I do not need your support. I do not want your help to meet my goals and meet my KPIs to get my bonus at the end of the year, right? Like that just doesn't happen. So it's really about being authentic, right? To saying that I want to help you. I have this program and this system that can do so much. Let me leverage it because that helps both of us, right? We get a return on our investment as well as I get to help you make your goals. So it's really not an issue if you approach it in that way. And you just have to be willing to get people involved in the conversation. And one example that I really love about this is we have a customer, they're in airplane manufacturing. And we were going through the process of being selected as their access control solution provider. They actually went in, first meeting, pretty basic stuff. And we said, hey, I really challenge you to go to your internal folks and ask, what else do you have issues with? And come back to us and let us show you what we can do. And the second meeting, in-person meeting that we had, they actually brought with them their safety team as well as the HR team. And so it was really cool for them to actually invite those people into the process of selecting a security platform because we got to talk to them directly about their challenges. And one of the things that the safety team brought up was the fact that they had these heavy machinery, they have these certifications and trainings that are needed to happen, and they're using an LMS learning management system to do that. But can they actually tie that into the credential to say, hey, you're not allowed on site or you're expiring about 30 days in advance, you need to go ahead and get recertified to help protect them against fines with not having the right certification. So that was really cool to see. And it was something that, again, we challenged them to bring the conversation up and they like doubled down on that and actually brought them into the selection process. But now they have, it's about a dozen different trainings and certifications tied into the system. Yeah, I think there's a lot of different ways to track how you're using the system in a different way other than just protection and standard security measures. I gave the example of the NPS, but there's also the ability to do things like with one of our customers, they do a lot of events for different types of people. They were looking at providing tickets. They didn't really necessarily know that Natalie or Lee showed up to the event. So how can they actually track that better? And we told them about being able to use a mobile device as a reader and being able to send out, again, mobile credentials, do the check-in so they know that Natalie and Lee showed up. They can actually, after that event, send email saying, hey, thank you for participating. But even went over, they wanted to do something fun. They wanted to do raffles. And they needed a way to be able to say, okay, who is in this space? How do we do raffles for people and just do something fun right when they come into the door? So we told them about being able to randomly select people as they badge in. And so they actually leveraged it as a way to check in the event and provide raffles. And so again, it was one of those things that has nothing to do with security, but it provided a better experience for people attending that. And they were able to do reporting on who actually attended it, who do we want to thank, and who do we invite next time, or who do we need to promote more to get more people to attend. Yeah, so when you're looking at some of the, I guess, when people resist some of these changes and how do they go ahead and adjust people's mindset, it comes back to, again, just being able to ask the question, hey, what challenges are you having? And explaining to them that they're there to help. And so I don't think it's necessarily a mindset change outside of the willingness, right, and the curiosity of doing more, but it's also becoming us, whether it's the manufacturer or someone within an organization, being that trusted advisor to say, hey, let's just go ahead and try it. And what's the worst that could happen if we tried it? Okay, it doesn't work. That doesn't really cost you anything. You've already made the investment. Let's just go ahead and turn it off. And so I think it's more about explaining to people and finding people that you trust to have the conversation with, to tell them what your challenges are, hear their thoughts around it, and then taking that advice and just trying it, especially when there's not a lot of risk associated to it. Yeah, when being asked how to create or continue to create innovative ways to use security systems, I think it goes back to, again, finding a group of people that you trust to have those conversations with and toss ideas around. I don't necessarily think you need to be the first person to come up with something, but being able to hear what people leverage and turning that around for your own purpose is really intriguing. We had a company that was telling us that they lose a lot. It's actually another grocery manufacturing. They have these distribution centers, and they were telling us, it was loss prevention team, and they were telling us how much they lose in losing ice cream, ribeyes, cherries, and salads on a daily basis. And you're like, gosh, this is crazy. And it was insane. It's something like $250,000 from not having things accurately stored, right? And so we went to them and said, okay, so what are the actual problems? Like, where are these things happening? And there was 2 locations. One's on the dock and one is in the cold storage area. And so we said, okay, with the cold storage area, like, what's going on there? Well, they were telling us how people would put boxes would fall off of forklifts, and it would leave a crack open, not fully closed. We said, okay, do you have cameras in the area? Do you have temperature sensors on those cold storage systems? They said, yes. All right, sweet. We can tie those things together to give you an alert that something is going on in the site. And before the temperature reaches a point where it's not FDA approved, we can give you a notification from the supervisor to go check it out, right? And so telling them those type of things to say, it may not cost you anything additional, but it is something that's going to bring you additional value that you've already invested the money in. Like, why don't we go do that? Advice I would give to anyone who wants to be catalyst in innovation for their security systems is, again, go out and network, whether it's internally with your different teams and different departments in the organization or with other industry professionals, because you just never know what someone might have been issues and challenges. And although you might not be able to relate exactly to their example, you might be able to take that same solution and use it for your own purpose. And what I mean by that is, I mentioned earlier around resource management from a facility standpoint and from a booking standpoint, and allowing members to know that, hey, you're 15 or you're 30 minutes until your booking is up, you're going to get charged at 15-minute increments. Well, you can also do that resource management in other ways, right? We had a snowplow, a city that uses snowplows during the winter, and they actually use resource management to assign plows to different bays at the end of their shift. They're using mobile credentials to check that in, making sure that the right snowplow goes to the right bay, gets refueled, gets service, and then the new person comes in for the shift with a mobile credential and assigns out that plow. And so, again, it's resource management, but it's in 2 different ways. And so someone that might have heard one example could take that solution, use it for their own purpose. So it's just all about networking, being curious, asking the questions, and not being afraid to tell people what challenges you actually have. And ultimately, you just don't be afraid to do more.
Thank you, Natalie. Those insights perfectly illustrate what we mean by possible, the art of reimagining security's potential beyond traditional boundaries. When we shift our mindset from security as merely protection to security as a catalyst, entirely new possibilities emerge. What's particularly powerful about these perspectives is how it transforms security from a cost center to a value creator. It's not about implementing more advanced security systems. It's about securing the untapped potential in what you already have and asking, what else might be possible? It's about developing the vision to recognize opportunities that others miss. From today's exploration of what's possible, I'd like to emphasize several key takeaways. First, reimagining security's potential begins with a fundamental mind shift. Instead of asking, how can we be better protectors? Start asking what else might be possible with the system and data we already have. This perspective unlocks innovation and value creation beyond traditional security boundaries. Practical opportunity identification is a skill that can be developed. The most successful security leaders systematically examine their existing infrastructure, data, and processes to uncover hidden potential and connections to broader business objectives. Third, building support for this expanded vision requires both strategic communication and demonstrable wins. Articulating security's potential in business terms and creating proof points that showcase broader value are essential for gaining organizational champions. Fourth, new measurement frameworks are necessary to capture security's full contribution. Moving beyond incident metrics to measure our efficiency, innovation, and business impact helps demonstrate security's role as a value creator rather than just a cost center. And finally, continuous innovation in security comes from fostering a culture of possibility and thinking. When teams are encouraged to explore what-if scenarios and connect with diverse stakeholders, new applications and opportunities constantly emerge. Having explored what's possible when we reimagine security's potential, our next episode will examine what makes organizations capable of turning this vision into reality. We'll investigate the technical foundations, operational capabilities, and expertise needed to transform security from protection alone to a platform for broader value creation. In the final installment, we'll discover how security can transcend traditional boundaries to become a true strategic enabler, generating insights, optimizing processes, and creating competitive advantages across the enterprise. Throughout the series, we'll continue to provide practical approaches that help you identify opportunities, build support for innovation, and measure success beyond traditional security metrics. The journey from possibility to capability to transcendence represents a powerful evolution in security's role and impact. I want to thank you, Natalie, for sharing these valuable insights into the art of what's possible when we reimagine security's potential. She is clearly doing more. The journey begins with vision, seeing possibilities where others see only barriers. The security systems you've implemented aren't just protecting your organization, they're creating the foundation for innovation, efficiency, and competitive advantages. By shifting your mindset from security as a protection alone to security as a catalyst for broader value creation, you open the doors to remarkable possibilities. I invite you to start this transformation today and ask yourself, what else might be possible with the security infrastructure we already have? The answer to that question could transform not only your security function, but your entire organization. It will give you the ability to do more. So share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below and subscribe to ensure you don't miss our next episode on the capabilities needed to turn these possibilities into reality. Thank you for watching, and remember, in security, what's possible is limited only by our imagination. Let's go do more.